Hello, my name is Xavier Ali, and I will be representing group number 3 in our analysis of Fiji water greenwashing. Fiji water is actually sourced from an aquifer in the Yekara Valley on Viti Levu, which is one of the islands of the Fiji archipelago. They're considered a luxury water brand and actually the #1 imported bottled water service in the United States. Fiji also supports many green initiatives and works with leading environmental organizations such as Conservation International. The company also strives for energy efficiency and waste reduction through recycling initiatives and infrastructure improvements, according to their website. Even one of their slogans is "Every drop is green." However, is Fiji water really green? We found through our research that they were guilty of 4 out of the 7 sins: the sin of no proof, the sin of vagueness, the sin of hidden trade-off, and the sin of lesser of two evils. Because of the 4 sins that they were guilty of, we ranked them on a 4 out of 7, 0 being completely green, 7 being completely greenwashed. The sin that we believe the company was most guilty of was the sin of no proof. The sin of no proof that they claimed was that they had a carbon negative output, which meant that they removed carbon from the pollution more than that they produced. So in reality, we found that they were guilty of forward crediting, which meant that they were claiming credit for the possible removal of carbon in the future. So it wasn't that the company was actually removing carbon emissions from the environment, but they were predicting that in the future they would have less buildup. On their website, they still have claims that they reduce CO2 emissions by offsetting their carbon footprint by 120%, but there's no reliable way to verify this claim. There's no third-party companies that have published statistics or results about this. It's all just a statistic kind of out of nowhere on the website with no backup or proof. The biggest issue that we saw with this no proof statement is that they're kind of just blindly leading their audience to believe that they're making a green choice by buying their plastic bottles, which the plastic bottles are going to add more carbon emissions into the air from production of it and cause pollution just from the plastic bottles existing. However, the company got a 4 out of 7, not a 7 out of 7, so there is some good things that the company is still doing, such as the bottle labeling the exact location where the water is being sourced, which is very, very nice for a company to do because it shows like transparency. You're not trying to like hide where the water is going or if it's being filtered in some other plant. They tell you exactly where the water is being sourced and that the water is just coming right from the aquifer and going right to the bottle. And the company's not lying about that. We also learned that the company is partnered with a company called Conservation International, which they said was a leading environmental organization. This organization is helping Fiji conserve one of the largest remaining unprotected rainforests, which is in the Sovi Basin, one of the other islands of the Fiji archipelago. This conservation project is going to preserve 40,000 acres of rainforest that are currently unprotected and could come victim to logging. So because of their efforts, they're protecting that 40,000 acres of rainforest from potentially being logged. So we also see that there's a project that they're working on together where they're going to restore some of the rainforest that's been damaged from the past, 2,800 acres to be specific, on the actual island Viti Levu, which if you remember is the same island that they're sourcing their water from. One last thing that the company's doing right is that they're giving back to the economy of the Fijians. So the local economy is doing a lot better because of the increased amount of jobs available. Some things that the company could work on, though, would be to relabel their bottle in a way that would make their company a little bit more transparent and less victim to greenwashing. One of the labels that they could add would be adding a partnered with Conservation International. So that would intrigue the reader into seeing what kind of conservation efforts they're doing with this company and maybe doing a little more research on their own. So this label would actually help with the sin of vagueness because instead of just them making claims that every drop is green with their slogan, instead the consumer can actively look at this other organization that they're paired with and see what they're doing and what they're partnering with and how they're giving back to the environment, not just every drop is green. Another label we would like to see would be the PET plastic label. So this label will actually help with the lesser of two evils sin, where now it's transparent that they're using plastic bottles. Even though they're using recyclable bottles, they're still using plastic, which means for consumer, they're going to understand that they're getting a recycled plastic, which kind of segues into the next label, where we want to have a more clear recycle this bottle kind of indication, because Fiji is basically neglecting the fact that the majority of plastic bottles are going to end up in landfills, and only small percentage of the PET bottles will actually end up being used to make more plastic. According to Franklin in a 2006 paper, there's only about 4% of the bottles that are made from PET actually make it back into plastic bottles. So just acknowledging and like saying, hey, recycle this, make sure to put this like on the front label, that will hopefully increase the amount of people that would recycle the bottle instead of just hiding the recyclable emblem on the bottom of the bottle. If the company could rework their labels and address the four sins that they're guilty of, which are the sin of no proof, the sin of hidden trade-offs, the sin of vagueness, and the sin of lesser of two evils, then the company could get a lower score, which would mean they're less of a greenwash company.